Hey, this is Mike McAdam from GenX Guitar. Who is the unsung hero of Van Halen? It may not be who you think. Hang around to find out. So, hey, there's been a lot of talk. You know, you have Van Halen, David Lee Roth with his megawatt personality, Eddie Van Halen with his genius guitar playing. You know, who is the unsung member of Van Halen that doesn't get enough attention? Well, I would tell you in the last decade or so, a lot of people have been rightfully saying that Michael Anthony is way overlooked, his bass playing, especially his harmony vocals. But I'm going to go a slightly different route with this. Alex Van Halen. I want you to imagine Van Halen without Alex Van Halen. He's a huge part of that sound. And the way that him and Eddie played together in the group was a central part of that group. For a second, I want to point out that when I saw Van Halen in 2012, Wolfie had basically fully matured as a musician. And I would contend at that point that they actually grooved harder with him than they did with Michael Anthony. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about Michael Anthony. Love his bass playing, especially in Fair Warning when they gave him the opportunity to start doing a little bit more. And obviously his background vocals were a big part of the band. But Alex Van Halen, I remember in 1991, a friend and I were listening to a radio station and the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album was about to come out. And I said, all right, new Van Halen track coming right after this commercial. So we're sitting around listening to it, and there's this piano intro, wound up being Right Now. And we're listening. We're not sure who it is yet because we never heard the song. Soon as the drums came in, we immediately knew it was a Van Halen song. So Alex has that rare ability as a drummer where he just has a sound and a playing style where you immediately know that it's him. And I've heard Dweezil Zappa say this, and I believe he's right. If you listen to any other time that Eddie Van Halen played with another drummer, it never sounded quite right. It just never matched up. So I think the tone of Eddie's guitar is very much set to the tone of Alex's drums, to the point where he referred to Alex's snare drum as being a brown sound. So I think the two of them are definitely connected. I can't even imagine what that band would have sounded like with a different drummer. So I'm going to bat for Alex Van Halen. Alex Van Halen is my unsung hero of Van Halen. What do you think about it? Comment below. Let's get into this a little bit and let's talk about all the individual, components that make this great band. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, GenX Guitar, and I will see you in the next video.
I think a lot of their boogie shuffle type stuff, is an Alex thing. It just feels like he's dictating a lot of the rhythm for these songs, and Ed's kind of following along to it, as it feels like to me, but I don't know if that's true.
It's interesting. I mean, you'd have a lot of people that would maybe think, oh, Ed wrote it, it's going the other way around. But there's something with them that's just super locked in. And I think as a bass player, Michael Anthony's great, but a lot of guys could have done that. In the argument more people will make is more with his background vocals. But like I said, I don't hear a lot of love out there for Alex, and I think he's a very big part of that band's sound.
I mean, I can't identify another drummer who sounds even remotely close to his tone, whatever tones he gets. I can't think of anyone. Even before I forget, I mean, like the groove in Pound Cake, although it's a straightforward, sort of like Zeppelin-y groove, awesome. Could other people play it? Yeah, I'm sure they could. But he just does it really well.
That's kind of my point. A lot of those grooves, a lot of even the Zeppelin-y grooves, a lot of guys can play them, but can they make it feel like that? That's the hard part.
Yeah, that's right. To segue to Bonham, it's they have that same quality. Just like Eddie has the same quality. Yeah, you can learn the lick or the riff, but it's the undertone of that energy that people miss.
Yeah, it's hard, but it just I think the connection those guys had. I can't reiterate this enough. I saw a live video from 2012 of them playing the Cafe Wah, and they were playing the song called "She's the Woman" that sounds a lot like Mean Streets, right? And I guess they had the song written in the 70s, but now with Wolfie playing bass, you're like, wait a minute, like all three of them are just super locked in now. We can't play fantasy baseball with these guys, but you're like, okay, there's three guys named Van Halen who are tighter than a duck's ass right now playing that